Hi everyone, how are you doing? I'm getting a lot of questions from people I know about this new registration requirement imposed by Inland Revenue Sri Lanka. So, thought of giving some clarification on questions and doubts people have. Um, I'm a CPA Canada member as well as a CIMA UK member, currently in Canada. So, let's straight away go to the point. Um, Basically, this is a registration requirement. It's not about paying taxes straight away. It's talking about registration and obtaining a TIN number, tax identification number. So yes, if you don't register, you have a lot of penalties to pay, and there are certain requirements, and most of the people will fall under these requirement and may require to register. So let's talk about these things one by one. First thing is, in Canada and Sri Lanka there is a tax treaty. Because of that, you don't need to pay double taxes on your income. So let's say you are making income in Canada and you're paying taxes on that. You don't need to pay taxes again on the same income in Sri Lanka, except there are few exemptions, but most of the income is not taxable in both countries, either in Sri Lanka or in Canada. And one important thing to note on these tax treaties and all these requirements, acts and all, it all depends on the residency status. There are two ways countries tax their people. One is based on residency status, and the other one is based on citizenship. Both Canada and Sri Lanka tax their uh, individuals or businesses based on their residency status. So, according to the Inland Revenue Act, residency status is calculated or rather defined in a few methods. One of the major method is they count the number of days you reside in Sri Lanka. This is 183 days or more. If you reside in Sri Lanka, you are treated as a resident. This is basic blunt explanation, but there are a few other things to consider. But this is a basic method of defining the residency status. At the same time, in Canada, there are some requirements to establish the residency status. We call it residential ties. So, if you go by this number of days, it will be more easier, and that gives you a lot of clarification. And then the other important thing is, like, even though you are a resident in Canada, and still you may require to obtain a registration and TIN number if you fall under the categories I'm going to mention in the next few minutes. Doctors registered under SLMC, chartered accountants, only the CA members, not the ACCAs, CIMA, or any other foreign accounting bodies, but CA Sri Lanka members who still maintain their membership. Doctors, as I said, who's still maintaining their SLMC registration. CMA Sri Lanka members, chartered management accountants, again Sri Lanka, CMA Sri Lanka members, engineers registered under IESL, bankers registered in the Bankers Institute, architects from Sri Lanka Institute of Architects, then quantity surveyors, especially members of Institute of Quantity Surveyors of Sri Lanka, attorneys at law of Supreme Court, and people who have registered a business at their divisional secretariat. In Sinhalese we call Pradeshya Lekam Karyalaya, or in Tamil we call it Pradesha Selagam. Anyone who has registered a business under the business in this office, they are supposed to obtain this TIN number. And people who have a vehicle in their name, except a three-wheeler motorbike or hand tractor. In Sinhalese we call this a tractor. Anyone other than these three who owning a vehicle, so maybe a van or bus, a lorry, a car, you name it, they are supposed to obtain this TIN number. And anyone who owns immovable property like a house, a land, um, these are also considered, these are considered, and there are so many other immovable properties, you can name it, you get, there is a list. um, you are supposed to get a registration, you are supposed to get yourself registered and get this tin number. And employees who's making over 100,000 per month, or employees who's making over 1.2 million rupees per year, by providing services in Sri Lanka. You don't need to be employees at all. You can be someone who's just providing, I mean, private practices and providing services, um, and still making this money. You're supposed to pay taxes and register and get yourself this tin number. And finally, someone who's contributing to EPF over 20,000. This contribution is a total of employee and employer both. So let's say you contribute 8,000 and your employer contribute 12,000. This is the basic allocation. You're supposed to register and get the TIN number. So these are the requirements in exemptions to the residency status. And also there is another requirement in part B of this recent ruling issued by the Minister of Finance, that's current president, on on May 31st, 2023. In that ruling, part B, it says anyone over 18 years as of 31st of December 2023 is supposed to obtain a TIN number. This we will have to relook at it with this residency status. However, if it is a dual citizen, someone who is a dual citizen, if none of the above is applying to them, then 183 days rule and also this residential ties will matter when it comes to defining whether they need to register. In my opinion, if you could register, it's better to avoid the penalties, because most of these requirements are covering almost everybody who's a Sri Lankan citizen or has residential ties to Sri Lanka. So it's better to register. It doesn't mean that you, just because you register, you need to pay taxes to the country. So as I said, it all depends on your income source and residency status, I mean tax payability. So if you're making income out of the country and if you're paying the taxes, relevant taxes in that particular country, and if you have a tax treaty between the country you're living and Sri Lanka, please refer to that. Maybe you can refer to or reach out to any accountant professional or any tax professional who is handling these things, and get more clarification. But yeah, as I said, registering is good, but that doesn't mean that you need to pay taxes for all the income you make out of the country. It all depends on your residency status. Let me know if you have any other questions. I hope I clarified the most important parts. And yeah, stay tuned. Thank you.